Through these halls, where lovers get lost and lust consumes the wicked, a place where reality collides with fantasy, in the pages where romance is second to none. Welcome to the Lover's Library.
Hey lovers,
I'm Carly.
I'm Sydney.
And I'm Zoe.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Hello.
Good evening.
I know, I sound so enthusiastic.
Good morrow. I guess it's prime morning when this comes out. Good morrow.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
What a morning.
This
pretty
week
good.
we're doing Sydney's pick, Assistant to the Villain. I'll let you say the author's name.
Girl,
'Cause
this
that
is
was
a hard
last
name.
time.
Your name is really hard to
It's right
say,
here.
Hannah. Hannah Nicole Maehrer.
Maehrer. So, what's the scoop?
All right, let me tell you about her. She is a fantasy romance author, and this is like from her bio. With a propensity for villains. That was a hard
Same.
word. Propensity.
That was a big propensity.
That's a $10 word. When she's not creating bookish comedy skits about villains and assistants, she's writing to Taylor Swift songs. Her biggest passion in
Aw.
life include romance, magic, laughter, and finding ways to include them in all and everything she creates. Most days you can find her with her head in the clouds and a pen in her hand. If you wanted
That's
to follow
really
her on her TikTok or her Insta, she's at Hannah Nicole May, Mae. And I like her Instagram and TikTok. I follow her. She's a good time. So
Aw, to check
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
So, this book.
I'm so excited about this book. I'm so excited.
Do
we
you have a
talk
little? We do a little.
Oh, we
I
do.
usually do a little tidbit of
we
a
talk about
synopsis.
You always like
What
do
do we
this.
do on
I'm
this
like
show?
not. Yeah. What are we doing?
Do you got it?
I
Do
can-
you want, like real quick,
Yeah.
like a little bitty.
Okay. So in like the description, I love that she said it's a Once Upon a Time meets The Office because in a lot of ways you get a hint of both of those things.
Well, they do have an office setting.
They do. So, our assistant's name is Evie Sage, and she is caught up into becoming the assistant, the personal assistant to the villain of Ren Dawn. And so she's going on all these escapades, and they figured out that somebody is particularly targeting the villain, and that's his name. It's his villain, but his actual name is Tristan. And so we're going on an adventure to figure out who is trying to kill and destroy the villain. We're going on an adventure. And do these two like each other? Why are they fighting each other's emotions and feelings so hard?
Enemies to lovers.
I know.
Duh.
It's such a good
Because
stuff.
when you're the villain, you can't have a girlfriend.
You can't. Absolutely not. And it can't be your personal assistant who squashes their foot on random eyeballs, you know? So we're jumping into the magical world of Ren and Dawn and the life and time of the assistant and the
How do you
villain.
say it?
Renadon.
Renadon?
Renadon?
I call it Renadon.
So I said Renadon.
How did you
Okay.
hear it in your head?
And then I said,
Ren-
skip that.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get to Lover's Quarrel. Let's talk about it.
Lovers quarrel. So
Yeah.
at the beginning of this, Evie kind of was giving me Akatar vibes because like
I can't relate.
she is taking care of her family. She's supporting her family. Her dad's not really doing much.
Ugh.
Ew.
In this
Oh,
Yeah.
And to come to find out. Ugh.
This book made me so mad.
Okay. Let me not spoil anything. The ending of this book is not what I expected because I didn't know there was a second book.
What ending?
Exactly. There was no closure. And
Let's start with the beginning.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I feel like we learn a lot about her character.
Sorry. Let's jump back to the beginning.
We learn a lot about Evie as a character from the
Yeah.
beginning because she gives her slip of employment to the mom behind her in line
I
with the two
know.
kids.
So
I was like, she's so nice. Like, she's always just trying to take care of other people.
Yeah.
she was. It's a very much grumpy sunshine
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
book because And but I also feel like he was very sunshiny too, in a sense. You know, he's definitely the villain.
But I was gonna say she wasn't really. She was like a fake sunshine.
yeah,
They talk about it.
yeah.
She
Because
said
he was so soft to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but he was trying not to be.
he was oh man, he was fighting it. He was fighting.
So how
every
she
inch of it.
met him was she's walking and she sees this river filled with blood. I was like, that's fucking creepy.
I know. Gross.
Because I'm not going towards it. I'm
Right?
running away from it.
But she
Not her.
stumbles across the villain and it's him. He's injured and he's bleeding, and that's how she finds him.
Yeah.
But
I was
nobody knows what the villain looks like.
Exactly.
Yes. Which I will kind of read a few quotes from this because it's just so funny and it just explains it all so
Mhm.
well. So he's trying to keep her quiet and she won't shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you mumbling about?"
Yeah.
She said, "This is just very typical for me. Being pulled to the ground by a stranger." Well, not this exact situation. But then she like gets a good look at him and she says, "You really shouldn't look like that." Yes, the blood's not great, but I was referring to the fact that you look like you were carved out of marble.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that as a rule of thumb, inherently evil people should be grotesque looking. She
Agreed.
says, "That's not a think scenario, that's just objective." And then she goes, "Look how symmetrical your cheekbones are." She just would not stop.
No.
But I did think that, so she's kind of like a blurt everything out, no filter,
Yeah,
just
for
talk.
sure. For
And then
sure.
he has this like dry sense of humor. So he kind of helps her escape the people that are chasing him,
Mhm.
because he's like, if they find you with me, they'll kill you too. So let's be quiet and get out of here. So he helps her escape. And in the time, he gets to realize that she's in need of a job.
Mhm.
And so he offers her one and he says, "You need work." And she's like, "But your job is like not okay." She's like, "But what of my village? What if I help you harm someone I know?" And he says,
Mhm.
"That would be very awkward for you."
Yeah.
I was like, I
Thanks.
love his dry sense of humor.
And it would catch her off guard, and she'd be like, "Are you joking?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Yes."
I read that they're both supposed to be some type of neurodivergent.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see her being more of like ADHD and
Mhm.
him maybe being like autistic a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I had read, and I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not okay, but if it is, it's fitting.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. Yeah. But okay, so then she's coming into the office one day and he's got like heads hanging from the ceiling and she's like, "Oh great, he's in a mood today."
Yeah.
And then she goes in there and she hears that he's tormenting someone in his office and she's like, "What in the hell?" But I just really liked how he just never hid who he was to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he messes with her because he knows she's like squeamish and doesn't want to be involved in all that. She says his eyes never left hers as he'd straightened and carried the man toward the nearest window and promptly tossed him out. He says he just does that all the time. Like, he just doesn't care. He's gonna
Mhm.
kill somebody, he's just gonna go ahead and kill
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Hang their heads from the front so everyone can
Just
see it.
straight up tell
Yeah.
you that too.
Exactly.
It was so great. What did you guys think of Becky?
I hated her and I loved her at
Exactly.
the same time.
It evolved for me because she gave me, like, from The Office.
The
what's
blonde
Dwight?
girl?
Yeah, Dwight's girl.
Uh-huh.
I forget her
I
name.
forget her name
But-
too.
Andrea.
Angela.
Angela. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah, makes the dream work. But she was giving me that, and I liked and hated her on that show too.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you figure her out by the end, and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, I get why you're acting like this, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to see her character evolve in the next
Yeah.
book too.
Yeah.
I just felt like I didn't really trust her. So Becky is a coworker for the villain.
Becky with the good
Mhm.
hair.
And she's just she seems kind of jealous of Evie and
Mhm.
I feel bad for her, and I would be civil, but I wouldn't be her friend.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yes. So she's in the workplace and she's just kind of struggling working for the bad guy. Evie is. She was so nice and happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learn about her mom and her brother and like what happened to them.
I
That
was
was crazy.
yeah, and
So-
I was wondering how that was gonna show up later because, okay, just to give you a little backstory, her mom ends up having a power
And it's
do you
like they're
remember what it
born
was?
with it, but they're dormant. And they are awoken by a traumatic event.
Yeah.
And hers was the light flame, like kind of a light orb she could make.
Mm-hmm.
And she was throwing it. She was going to play catch with the brother.
Yeah.
And she threw it and he caught it and it like exploded him.
Yeah.
Which is so sad and awful, but then the mom just disappeared.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which from what we know later on about the dad, right, who says that he has the disease, you know, I want to say that he did something for her to leave. Like, and the king was involved in some way. I have to believe that.
I don't think that fucker had anything to do with it.
Well, remember there was the letter that she found on
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
desk.
But it
later
was
on.
like she was begging to come back.
Yeah.
I
But that
think
means
she
she's still alive somewhere.
Did she
Yeah.
like disappear, like gone, vanish, or
Yeah.
did she run? That's what I didn't know.
She was gone really fast.
That's because all of a sudden the baby was just there and
Yeah.
she was gone.
Yeah.
So
Who
I didn't
knows?
know. Interesting.
Well, that happened. And so she was like struggling with that internally.
Mm-hmm.
But so she had this like horrific history and she was worried that this job would change her.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought that she would get magic.
I think
was
so,
waiting
too.
for it.
I think she's got it.
Probably
It's
in the
coming.
next book.
It's
Yeah.
coming. But one of the things I liked that she said was, well, I liked it, but it's kind of sad too. She said she didn't want to become evil, but when you spend most of your life trying to see the sun, you begin to wish for rain.
Mm.
I was like, I feel that.
Good job. That was a
But
good one.
as these two get to know each other, Tristan starts to change. And like what you said, like he would say something and then they'd be like, she'd say, wait, was that a joke?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? But he did make it to where they had this ink bond put on them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
He had one and she had one. And if one of
Gold.
them were to betray the other, it would
Kill the betrayer.
kill them.
Mm-hmm.
It would like leak into their system and it was a poison and it would kill them basically. So he
Mhm.
trusted her from the get-go, which was kind of nice because he doesn't trust anybody.
And he
Mhm.
did a different one for her. Now,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
his like special guards, it was blue. It was a blue ink, or it was a different color.
Yeah.
For
Mhm.
her, it was gold.
Yep.
And it was. I feel like it was a more intimate connection.
I
with
think
the
he
gold.
did it like a mate bond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I was feeling
Uh-huh.
about that.
Yep. So part of that, Tati, she's the healer. She's
Mhm.
the one that helped with the bond. She did that, and she
Mhm.
helps heal Evie because she keeps getting hurt.
That
But-
girl is clumsy.
Z.
I really liked Tati.
Me too.
Me too. And what was his sister's name?
Clara.
Clara.
So everyone's trying to figure out there's a spy.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is leaking information to the
They
king
got a
about
rat.
what the villain is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Evie is like really adamant about finding someone. And at this point, she realizes that she's changing because she admitted that she would torture someone for him
Yeah.
to help him
If
and
I
to
had
protect
magic,
him.
I would definitely be evil. So.
I was like, these jokers are in love. And then she finds the bomb. Remember that?
I was so mad.
She hears this ticking and she's like, oh, what's that? I'm like, it's a fucking bomb.
And okay, so he talks about it later on how he felt the gold,
The string.
Uh-huh.
yeah, because
the
he was
pull.
like somewhere else.
Akatar
because,
reference.
They had figured out,
The bond.
the Valiants had figured out. Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
His
Mhm.
guards, the king's guards, have figured out one of their stash places,
Uh-huh.
and he was there because we learn later he was pulled there so that she would get
Yeah.
bombed.
They were trying to divide them.
Divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they did it to separate the two. So they got him away, and then they were going to blow up the place. They were just trying to weaken the system.
Yeah. And of course, she trips once she's like finally found
Oh
the
my
place
God.
where she can
I
throw
know
it.
this girl.
Yeah. Becky
And-
helped her. She's like, go out that way.
Yeah.
She gets the bomb. She's running
Yeah,
in her fucking high heels.
of course. She falls. She gets her foot trapped.
Her heel got stuck in a crack.
Yeah. And like the bomb is about to go off. And
Mhm.
she's not far from it, but she's not.
She's too close.
She's too close.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up, of course. And
I
he,
said,
like,
of course, Tristan comes to
of
the
course,
rescue.
Mhm.
of course.
He always comes.
And he covers her, and the bomb explodes and all
Mhm.
this jazz. And you could just like feel like him being so tense, like she almost died.
Yeah, for real.
Because
He
he's
reacted
fighting.
well, though. He didn't do the typical man like freak out thing that we see
Yeah.
in a lot of the books.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But so when he sees the bomb or he's talking about it, he like recognizes that he's like, I know
Who made this?
who made this.
Yeah.
And they go to the tavern because he's like, that's where this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're there, they run into one of her exes
Mm-hmm.
and fuck that guy.
Before he comes in here, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So she's like by herself, and so it looks like she's alone and whatnot, and she sees him and she's like, ugh. And she was explaining to the reader about this relationship and why they broke it off. And she
Mhm.
says sometimes it was better to remain lonely than to waste companionship and energy on someone undeserving.
Period.
I was like, thank
And
you.
he came in, he was like, you're on a date?
Mhm.
You?
Ugh.
Mhm.
Who wants to go out with you?
Exactly.
Is this when she acts like
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So he says,
I read this like a week ago. It's all coming back.
she said, well, it was nice seeing you again, but like I said, I'm meeting a friend or I'm meeting someone. He said, not a lover.
Yeah, what a weird
I must
way.
say, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
And she said, why? And he goes, well, it's you. I was like,
Ugh.
fuck you, Rick. That was his name, too. I was like, what she did a great, name that douchebag Rick. Rick. Ugh. But so she tells him, like, oh, he's my lover, blah, blah, blah. So Tristan shows up and she, like, clings to him and she's like, she made him think that was her boyfriend.
And he loved that.
Yeah. Well, he
was into that.
was protective in a way. He was like,
Yeah.
he read the situation and he's like, okay, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
But then later he's like, why are you clinging to me like a barnacle?
Which
Thank God, because sometimes in these books, they're like, just play along. And the guy's like, what?
Yeah. But that's when they drop the bomb that the person that they're meeting is Tristan's brother, Malcolm. I was
the
like,
way his
know.
family just kept showing up.
I was like, the
Mhm.
king's going to be his dad.
Exactly. I was wondering. I was like, who the heck is he connected
Yeah.
to?
Yeah.
We figured out how he's connected to the king
Yeah.
later, which I wish there was a little bit more to that. Honestly,
yeah.
I wanted there to be like him an uncle or a dad or somebody
Mhm.
familiar.
I guess it could be
family-wise.
his uncle.
It could be.
I don't know, but I want more of Malcolm because I really did like
Me
him.
too.
Mhm.
He said, oh, for the love of gods, what the fuck are you doing here, brother? And I was like, you're funny, brother. What? So many emotions at once. But so they have their discussion and they're trying to figure out who did this. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I made it. I didn't know they were going to do that. I never would have sold it to them like that. And
Yeah, but he was drunk.
yeah.
But I think for a reason.
Mhm.
You know, it was intentional.
Mhm. At this point, we realize that the villain isn't actually the villain. Like, we start to see that, like, there's other people involved in workings that are going on that is making you question, like, is he really the bad guy in all
Do we
this?
trust anyone? What's happening?
Right? Then we meet Blade. Do you remember Blade?
I loved Blade.
Me too.
Me too.
And I want Blade and Becky to get
Me
together.
too.
I
And I
think
think
so,
we're
too.
about. It's
Oh,
coming.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It's
I
on the
think
way.
so.
My favorite. Blade had, like, all my favorite quotes. I think they were all
He
from
had a
him.
good one.
Mhm.
A lot of the third date stuff was from Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And he wore like funny outfits.
Yeah.
You know what I noticed though is that they didn't really go into detail describing what people looked like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had to make it up on my own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not very good at that.
Yeah.
Everyone looked like Slenderman.
Well, we do
No
know
face.
that Evie had brown hair.
Mm-hmm.
He had brown hair.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They all had brown hair. But
We all have brown hair.
one of the
My
things Blade
It's brown.
said was he was talking about his dragon and he's like, "No, we don't eat friends. We talked about this."
Yeah.
To Fluffy.
Yes, I love
So
that.
Dragon.
But when Evie found that letter from the king to Blade for the
Oh,
employment,
Oh,
I
I
was
thought.
always happen.
I was freaking out. I was like,
Me
"No, you can't make him be the
And
bad
it was
guy."
too early in the book. I was
Yeah.
like, no, where are we going with this?
Mhm.
He walked in. I was like, he's gonna kidnap her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because he was like, it felt like he's about to kill her.
Yeah.
Or he's about to run away with her. And my brain went to a totally different plot.
And I'm
Yeah.
really glad that it wasn't.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Because I really liked his character, and I was
Yeah.
hoping that
Me
he
too.
wouldn't get killed
I was
off
like,
or
no.
become the real villain.
Yeah. But then Malcolm, the brother, comes in to help a little bit more because he remembers that the spy had blue ink on his hand.
Yeah.
And so they went to go see Claire, which then we figure out, whoa,
Is he
Tati and Claire
sister?
used to be lovers.
Yeah, they
And
did.
Claire
In
is
the
Tristan's
nighttime.
sister.
In the daytime.
Who
I
knew
was
there
like,
was a whole family
what?
tree in this book?
This is
Man,
getting
it just kept showing
twisty-curvy.
up.
When he's like, nobody knows what I look like except for all of my
All
family.
right.
Yep.
And the king and
Yeah.
pretty much everybody.
So there's kind of like a huge fight, and everyone's like, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
upset, whatnot. But they figure out a little bit more about the spy. They go back to the castle, the manor, and that's when Becky, the bitch, brings in the letter that she found.
And she thought she was so sneaky.
She really thought she had something.
Yeah, but it worked. I mean, Tristan got
did.
upset, so she
That
presents.
broke my heart. I was just like, dude, if she had broken your trust, don't you think that she would have been dead by now
Mm-hmm.
because of the gold cord
Yeah.
around them?
He's like,
But-
I don't know how she did it, but she found a way around it.
We found out that theirs wasn't poisoned. Remember, the gold
You're right.
the gold ink wasn't poisoned.
You're
Oh, yeah.
right.
Well, so Becky brought in that letter, and it was Blade's letter of employment from the king.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But Becky found it in Evie's drawer because she had taken it from him, because she's like, I don't want anyone to find this, and you better tell him before I do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because she was going to tell him.
Mhm. But I was like, ugh, I was so frustrated.
And
with
when she
how,
was going to tell him, he stopped her. And then he hurt her heart.
Yeah.
And she ran.
well,
Sorry, keep
yeah,
going what you were
I was
saying.
just gonna say I was mad with how fast he just like threw her to the curb.
Literally.
hmm And then I was pissed because Blade came in and he didn't say anything
I
for the longest
know.
time. I was like, God damn it, Blade, get your shit together.
Right.
But I just thought, Evie was so sweet because she really just had a good heart and she loved and forgave very
she held
easily.
so much on her shoulders.
Literally.
She quit school for her sister.
Yeah.
She took care of
Mhm.
her sister.
Yeah.
She took care of her piece of shit dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it made me sad.
She
to
gave the
think of
job to that
everything
lady.
she was doing.
Yeah.
She has a good character development though. I think she comes full
For sure.
circle, man.
I think
And-
she definitely matured.
Yeah.
And, he figured out how much of an integral part of the office that
Oh, yeah.
she was.
Mhm.
Because as soon as she was gone, the week or so that she was gone,
Everything
went to
downhill.
crap.
Yep.
It was like they couldn't open the magical drawer. Or they couldn't get everything together. The interns
They're like,
were all
how
over
do
the
you
place.
fix this? And he's like, how
There
do you
was a
fix this? They're
fire.
like, oh,
Yeah.
Evie usually does that.
Yeah.
Evie knows how.
Yeah. And
But
so he was
she
like
had-
kicking himself. It was like, I overreacted and now my office is out of
Yeah.
control. And how did we function before her?
But he still didn't make an effort to go get her.
He
She
didn't.
came back to
She
him.
did.
I know.
But I did like their conversation. So she immediately they talk and he says, I'm sorry. And I was surprised
Mhm.
that he
Mhm.
I
apologized
didn't think he was gonna
first.
say he
No.
was
She
sorry.
says, you're sorry? He said, dispense with the dramatics. It's not as if I told you I have a nightlight. And she said,
Yeah, this
sir,
part was
do you have a
funny.
nightlight? I don't not have one.
We
You have a
understand later why.
nightlight? For what? Does it burn insects? Trying to lure something to its death? I use a nightlight for the purpose it was assigned, to make the night lighter. She said, this is the best day of my life. I was like, this is so funny.
Girl, same. You can't see in the dark.
So then that's the point when they go talk to Blade because he's like, come look at this. Come look what I did. Look at the dragon. And he had taken the chain off the dragon.
Mhm.
And that's when they discover the writing on the chain.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, we're going to go talk to the blacksmith because this writing was like, the villain shall fall or
Mhm.
something
Yeah.
like that. So they go and, the blacksmith is her old boss who tried to make an advance on her and she tried to get away and he hurt her with a magical sword.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like,
This book made me so mad.
yeah.
I would literally. There were
Mm.
several moments I was like, you have got to be freaking
I think this
kidding
Yeah.
is also a trigger warning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
For that part, there's several other parts.
Yeah.
If you don't kind of like blood and gore and like that kind of thing, there was a couple of moments.
It wasn't
you
too
know?
bad.
It was really light, but
Mm-hmm.
there was like some abuse in there, so just trigger warning for that.
Yeah. Attempted
It's
assault.
not heavy on it, but it is a part of the book.
Mm-hmm. But they went to talk to him, and
She fought. She did
Tristan-
great.
Tristan immediately is like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
And Evie's like, no, don't. And she like talks him into it, and I was like, oh, what a shame.
Right.
I'm like, go ahead.
I
I'll
mean,
watch.
her rationale was good, but I was also like, we could get him completely out of this book
Mhm.
if we wanted to, for sure. Anyways,
Then we go on to some more mythical creatures. And
yeah.
Tristan
How do you
catches
say the name?
Is it a Gudra?
Guvra.
Guvra?
In my brain, I could not.
It was the
Pronounce
V and the R like run together.
I would say
Guvre. I think I was saying
Guvra.
Guvre.
Guvra.
Guava.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a creepy animal thing that gives me
Nightmares.
It's a heebie-jeebies.
what's the monster with wings?
Heebie-jeebies.
Like Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, ew.
That creepy thing because he
That's
flies,
an actual
right?
thing? Jeepers Creepers?
Well, I hope not.
The movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't watch
Yeah.
the movie.
Anywho, that's what I
Sure.
pictured.
I just say Jeepers Creepers.
But he's been trying to catch this thing for 10 years
Mhm.
because the king has the mate. The king
Yeah.
has the female, and the male has just been like out and about.
I'm too empathetic because this made me sad. Thinking
Yeah. Well, I think they're better with him. Like, he's got them together.
yeah.
You know, he
and
wanted to
he
get them
even
together
let
and
them not.
get them away from the king.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden, Evie gets this weird invitation that like magically appears to
Mhm.
Briar's Park. And on her way there, she runs into Blade, and he's like, "Oh, weird, I got one too." And then they find Becky there too, and they're like, "Yeah, we all got one.
Yeah.
Everyone but
I was
Tristan."
getting real sus.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
And then
Suspicious.
we meet Arthur,
Dun, dun,
Tristan's
dun.
dad,
What?
and he's a core healer.
I'm like, you kept this from me?
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing that I wanted, you kept from me.
He didn't
Right.
trust her. He didn't trust her.
Rude.
I said, "Shit hit the fan real fast."
Literally.
His party sounds so fun.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm saying I'd go.
But it wasn't even his party because he
Exactly,
got
yeah.
the mysterious letter too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought he got a letter from who he thought was Evie to throw a party. And so he threw the party.
Oh, I don't remember.
It
Maybe
could have
not.
all worked. I mean, it's the same essence of
Yeah.
Somebody had a party
Somebody
and
set it
everybody
up.
was there.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
So the female, no, was it the male?
Mill.
The
'Cause-
male Gura got out,
Yeah.
and he's pissed.
Yeah.
And he's
He-
beautiful.
He's burning shit down.
Right.
And so he like finds this party, and he's like melting people and killing people and
I
all
would
this
too.
stuff.
That was
That
crazy.
was rude that you locked me up.
Yeah.
But okay, before that, Tristan comes and he's mad as fire, and they end up, I forget how they end up in the like garden spot, like the
Mhm.
bridge. To me it reminded me of like
Yeah, till
a scene
people
from
start
Tangled,
melting.
you know. And he asked her to dance with him, and I was just like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, it was this
That was
beautiful
cute.
moment until everything went to crap again.
Mm-hmm.
And the guava, you know what I'm talking, the little dragon thing, was killing everybody.
Yeah.
it was crazy. Like, I would watch a show of this.
Mm-hmm.
That part would be hard to watch because it was just like
Oh, I'd watch it.
flames and burning flesh and
Like,
all that
yeah.
jazz.
I have a part that I want to talk about, but I don't know if I should save it for third date.
Oh, save it for third date.
Okay.
Yeah, save it.
So then the all hell's breaking loose, and the valiant guards show up, which are the king's like soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And Evie put on a hell of a show.
She
Oh,
did.
This is what
I-
I was going to talk about.
Oh, okay. I have it highlighted, and I was dying.
Are we gonna save it for third date?
No, the one part we can talk about, but this doesn't have that in it.
Okay.
This is like the pre. She said, "Please," she sobbed, "help me." The discomfort in the knight's eyes increased tenfold. A man terrified of a woman's tears? I never would have guessed. He's hurt. I fear for his life. I must take him to a healer immediately. And then she said, you all are valiant and brave. I should have known better. You see, I have my monthly cycle. She says,
Me and my
women's
husband.
women's tears scared men,
Yeah.
but the functions of the female body clearly sent them into apocalyptic fits. I was dying.
And okay, let me add one more detail to his dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his dad is it called the core?
He's a core healer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he's that's like a really high up healer.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's supposed to be mythic.
yeah.
Yeah,
And also
they can there's nothing they can't heal.
exactly. And Tristan / the villain also has a power, which is the one thing that the king wanted of him. And the history between Tristan and the king is I think in some way or form the king found out what his power was.
Mm-hmm.
And so he took him to like this special, like, I'm gonna call it like a camp, and like was just like watching him and kind of had him as an apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the ulterior motive was to try to figure out his power, or to I don't know the right wording for this, but not to dampen his power, but to control it. Maybe that's
Mhm.
better.
Harness it
Yeah.
and use it against.
And kind of
Mhm.
when the villain figured out what the ulterior motive was, he was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And his power is he can like there's a dark cloud that comes over the person, and they don't see it, he can. And he can find like the weak points in
Mhm.
the person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like orange is like the points where it'll just like make them weak. Like if they hit him, like they would just be down, or like there's a certain spot on them that like immediately kill them.
Yeah.
Their death
and-
kill.
Yeah.
Their death.
And
something.
so whenever like he can go through a crowd of like all of his guards, and the power will just like hit all the fatal spots and like kill them all if he wanted to. But that's his power.
And the king kept telling him that he was bound to just hurt people he loved, and he was too dangerous.
Right.
And
He was a monster.
yeah,
Right.
I think they locked him up.
Yeah, that's why
Mhm.
he was afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
In the chains.
Exactly. So
But so yeah, he has power. He can use it if and when he wants,
yes.
but he doesn't always use it. So when the Valiant Guard came, he was like out of it because he had been hit unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So Evie did get them out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They all go their own ways. The Gura gets put back in the cell,
Mm-hmm.
and the sword that we mentioned that had poked Evie,
Mm-hmm.
that the bad guy, the Otto Warson, the
Ugh.
blacksmith,
Yeah.
Tristan took it, and he wanted to give it to Claire and Tati to see if they could figure out how to make it so that it wouldn't hurt her anymore. Because
Yeah.
even if she got near it, it caused her excruciating pain.
Yeah.
So, the two girls, they're figured out what's going on with it, and they bring Evie in there, and they're like, you have to like overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to endure it long enough to overcome it, and then you'll be in control of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which is
so,
just awful.
yeah.
But
So
didn't warriors use it? Like something similar?
I think
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
And so they're trying it, and all of a sudden Tristan just hears Evie just like screaming, and
Mhm.
he's like furious. He goes and he's like
Breaks
freaking
down
out.
the door.
He breaks down the door because they won't open it.
Literally.
And he was like freaking out. And then after that, Evie was just so like exhausted, and the day was over. So she went home, and that's when we figure out the stuff about the dad.
Wait, let me do one more thing before we get there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, I want to say that there was like this Evie didn't know if maybe it was Tati that was the informant inside. Like there was this kind
Yeah.
of
Was it Tristan that thought it was Tati?
maybe. I think
Because then
Yeah,
he heard her.
'cause she
remember.
said you're the only person who hasn't been around at all of these things.
Mhm.
exactly. And so when he heard
Her
her
screaming.
screaming, in the back of his mind, he's like, she's got her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was her.
And so when he comes in, he's like automatically, not only is he mad,
Mhm.
but he's like, you're gonna kill her.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And she like has to stop everything and was like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to overcome this like,
Yeah.
really quick, And it helped that Claire was there too, because
Yeah.
she was able to like be like,
Talk him down.
yeah, chill out,
Mhm.
bro. But then okay, now let's jump back in.
So
We're back
are we
at
gonna
the
talk
house.
about Evie's dad? Did we decide?
I think we should let the turns table.
Yeah, me
And
too.
Let the reader
Figure
it
out
Okay.
why the dad is a part of that part right there. It's a good one.
What about the next part when she goes to Tristan in there? She forgot a notebook at her house, so
Yes.
him and her are walking back. Can we talk about that?
Yes. Oh.
So I
Yes.
think the part that as they're walking back to the house, because she forgot her notebook at her house, her and Tristan are walking back,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden the king rolls up with his guards, and they're like, "We're taking Tristan, and we're gonna kill you, and he's gonna watch." And
Warson's there.
that's what I was gonna say. That was my biggest shock. Was that
Me too.
freaking Warson was the one that told them about it, everything. Like,
Because the guard, like
mhm.
the villain's guards, were supposed to take him somewhere else,
Mhm.
and somehow, some way, this joke got into the Valiant guards, and he was like, the king was like, yeah, he like debilitated the villain,
Mhm.
and the villain was like begging them to like.
I know, it was so sad.
That crushed me. I was like,
I wanted to be
he
like,
was
don't
on
beg
his
them.
knees.
Mhm.
And they had done like, they had a special what are these called? Handcuffs for him. I couldn't get it. That like made his powers not be able to be used. I think that's what it was happening. So he couldn't like use his powers. And Warson was literally about to kill her.
Well, the king said, "Do whatever you want. I just want her body."
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Gross.
And they had she knew that the sword was in her bag.
I just these people are this is why
Here it
you
is.
always kill people that wrong you.
Literally. So they don't come up to bite you.
Exactly. If you are going to blackmail somebody, you have to kill them or else they'll come back.
Exactly.
Yep.
It always comes back in this story. You can assume it.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Murder
I
is
like-
always number one.
So she didn't get away. Warson got her. But then she thought in her head, what would the villain say? Make this man pay, little tornado. And so she did.
I love that nickname for him.
I know. It was so good.
Okay, and so
But I forgot one part I did want
What?
to talk about. At one point, the Tristan wants Evie and her sister to move into his house because
Which
he's
is
like,
so
you'll be
sweet.
safer here, yada yada yada. And her reaction was freaking killing me. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Oh yeah, and her sister like wrote the book
Yeah.
about him.
She said, "Ugh." What was it?
We didn't even mention my favorite character in the whole book,
Who's that?
Kingsley.
Oh yeah.
the frog.
No, I'm gonna mention him next. He's in the third date part for me.
He's on here. I didn't have the physical copy, so I didn't get
Yeah.
it.
He's on the book.
Oh, that's funny.
Mother fricker. Where is it?
I don't know.
Because it was talking about how she goes, I get to see where you live.
Oh, because she
Oh,
and then
yeah.
she's like to the West Wing.
We can have tea parties. And he's like,
why
what's
would
a
you
tea
dress up?"
party? Why would we do that?
Yeah,
Yes, I found it. Okay.
he passed it like 5
I
times.
know. Okay, so my favorite part was when he says he wants them to move to the manor with him. And she says, no, wait, I get to see where you live? Oh my gods, what do you even do in your free time? Do you have like hobbies? He's like, little tornado, don't make me regret this, Sage. She says, can we play board games? Lissa loves board games. Perhaps a tea party. Lissa loves those too. Why would one need a party for tea? Don't you just drink it? What on earth is the party for? I was like dying.
That's very neurodivergent.
Uh-huh. He just doesn't understand that,
Yeah.
Common things. But
They're
And
so
the
funny and
hyperfixation
cute.
too.
mm-hmm.
Hyperfixation, what's that?
I
But
wouldn't know.
okay, so the ending is a cliffhanger
Fucking hell.
because I was like, I didn't know that there was a sequel at
Mhm.
all. I
think
just thought,
it's a trilogy.
Mhm.
yeah. And so you're left with what's gonna happen because at the end, the villain is on the way back to
Mhm.
the main
king takes him.
Yeah, and Evie is back at the manor, and there is no end in sight. Like what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're left
She was
at.
able to escape from Orson. She slit his throat with the magical.
And I didn't get enough answers about her mom.
Right.
I wanna hope and pray that the next book, I wanna meet the mom.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
want to see her in one of these books because I feel like she's an integral part of this. And I
Oh.
also think that Evie has powers.
Oh
I
yeah.
do too.
Shit's about to go down.
She
says-
excited.
Quietly vowing to herself that she would save the villain or become one trying. And it says the end. Well, for now.
I
was
was
like,
wondering
"Motherfucker."
if Gideon was actually dead, her brother.
I don't think he was.
Maybe
I
they
think
both. Maybe they both went
That's what I'm
and
wondering.
went
I
to
think
another
so.
plane.
I think so.
I hope they're not.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Should we do third date?
Sure.
I said, ugh, this book. If there was ever a slower burn than this.
It was slow. It was
I
a
said,
lot of chapters.
Now
Yeah,
she has to
it was.
rescue his ass before we get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a list of sexual innuendos.
Would
Would you like to hear them?
Yes.
I really do. So my first one is from Tristan. And it's when she opened the door and hit him in the face on accident.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she goes, I'm so sorry, sir. I should have knocked first. She shrugged with her small shoulders as if to say, what are we going to do with me? He had a few ideas. I was like, oh, I bet you do. Then we go to Evie has several here.
Yeah.
They were good as well.
What are
She
we gonna
says-
do with me? Why'd you say it like that?
She says, okay, so this is her talking to Rick in the tavern. Well, Rick, it was delightful seeing you, but you should go. Evie pressed him. We have lots to do. Like each other. She laughed, but she felt her boss jolt under her hands as if she'd slapped him. I was like, she said that. Like each other. So funny.
But you should do this every episode on the innuendos. That is hilarious.
They all make me laugh. But I realized early on that there was not going to be any sex in this book.
No, the next
So,
one probably will.
Anything sexual, I highlighted it.
This is not spicy. This is
Yeah.
not spicy.
So
Bell
at one
peppers.
point,
Yeah.
they were talking about what they like to do, and they both like to read. And so he asked her, what sort of book? The villain asked, taking a sip. I don't know. I like romances, usually the dirty ones. But then she talks about the books again later because she said, this is what you get for reading books with no naughty words in them.
I like the in the beginning when she's talking to Tati after she's getting healed, and
Oh, yeah.
she's like, "My dream about him was dirty."
and he
Yeah.
walks in.
Uh-huh.
See, I had gotten past that part, and then it took me a little bit to realize, and then
Mhm.
once I figured it out, then I started highlighting, so I missed that one. Oh, okay, this is a good one. This is Evie and Blade. It's huge, Evie gasped. Blade turned to her, then a sly smile on his lips. If I had a gold piece for every time. And then that's when the villain smacked him.
Yeah.
And then this is my favorite one. Also Blade. He said, it's when they're on their way to the party and she runs into Blade and then they run into Becky. And Blade tells Evie that she looks really nice. And then he doesn't say anything to Becky. Evie tisked at Blade, lightly shoving him. Why didn't you say anything about the way Becky looked?
Oh.
And he said, because the things I was thinking when I saw her in that dress weren't fit for mixed company. I was like, oh, Blade, tell us more.
They're Dwight and Angela for sure.
Mhm.
They're so funny.
So the one thing that we did have was the kiss when she was
Mm.
putting on that huge show for the guards to try to
Ugh.
get them out of there.
I always hate like a fake kiss as a first kiss,
Yeah.
And he was confused and thought it was a dream.
but
He
he called
did.
her love.
You
Yeah.
did.
I wanted
Oh.
to scream.
He like woke up and just
He's like, wow, this
grabbed
is
her and
magical.
pulled
Right.
her. Oh, I did write that. I said grabbing her waist to pull her closer. It was like something about that. Just like, "Arr, come here.
Animalistic.
At one
Mhm.
point, she says, attractive murderers were always good kissers. And I was like, what?
The other one I have was when they had their first like good hug,
Mhm.
Oh.
like at her
Yeah.
house after
Hugs
every-
are underrated.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
A good one.
Mm-hmm.
A good one is good.
And they needed
What is
that
good?
hug after they found
Yeah, he was
the
like,
big
"I'm
things
not
had
good at
happened, and
it."
there was a lot of emotional things, and they hugged, and she looks up at him, and he looks down at her, and then the fucking frog, Kingsley, jumps over and messes it up.
Love him.
I was
He's
like, Kingsley,
this is a bad idea.
Right.
Kingsley,
His
you're
bad idea.
he is like a prince trapped in a frog's body,
He is.
Mhm.
and he's gonna come out and be like, Evie, I love you, and we're gonna be like, shut up, Kingsley.
Frog again. I wanna. There are so many things I'm waiting for this next book, and it comes out in August, so you have to wait.
Oh, it's not even out yet?
No, it's
Can
not.
you-
Let me double check the date.
While
But
you're
I
doing
want
that-
to say it's August.
Can you imagine how awkward it would be for Kingsley to sit there and be watching him like about to start making out?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was like, fucking stop. I'm a frog. I can't get away fast enough.
I want to know like what kind of frog though, because I like the black-eyed tree frogs. They're pretty cute.
I
But,
feel like
like-
he's the classic like Princess and the Frog
Oh,
frog.
Okay.
Green.
But
Green.
I was thinking if he was one of those, what are those big old fat ones called that like came hop? You don't want one of those frogs.
August 6th.
Oh,
That's when it comes
nice.
out. August 6th.
What's
we
it
have
called?
to wait.
Should we do?
Apprentice to the villain.
Oh, yep. This is when she's gonna start taking over.
Mm-hmm.
Should
you
we
sure?
do Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Because what if Apprentice to the Villain is a prequel?
No, I'll be so mad. You can't do that.
No.
That's too much.
But that makes sense because the villain was an apprentice. And if the king is the real villain,
Mm-hmm.
then that would make sense. But I'm really hoping, like, if they do a little backstory, sure. But I need you to catch back up to where we landed
Mm-mm.
from here.
I just need him to do it.
All right.
All right, did you hear her, Hannah? Go and rewrite. Go and rewrite if you didn't put
I
it
just
in there.
want her to have like epic battle, save the man, because we're gonna get the girl saves the guy. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
For sure.
Do you want to do Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Did you have any trivia questions?
I do
That's
those
in Speed Date.
Oh, sorry,
You
guys.
silly goose, go
I
get in
was-
the pond.
I just
I
wanted
said
to...
that to somebody the other day, and they were like, "I've never heard that," and I was like,
I've
"My
never
friend
heard it
says
either.
it. She said it
Hilarious.
before on an episode."
Have you?
Probably to you.
Probably.
Yeah.
F,
Okay.
Mary, kill.
I'll go first.
We
Okay.
probably have the same ones.
I would F Blade.
Yep.
I would marry the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I would kill her dad.
Uh-huh.
And my best friend would be Evie or Kingsley.
Oh. I said mine is exactly the same, but my best friend would be Tati. I really liked her.
Me too.
I liked her, but she's too aggressive with the secrets.
She is a bit.
Like, I'll tell you secrets on my own term.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I would be jealous of her powers, not gonna lie.
honestly. Cause
But you could borrow her dress that fits everyone.
That's really cool.
Oh,
That was
man.
that was so cool.
That was cool.
She wrote that in for every woman,
Mm.
you know. Okay.
It has pockets.
Of course it does. Okay. I might differ just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and F the villain because we didn't get that in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that out of the way. Marry the villain because Avi.
Mm.
I'm gonna go ahead. I want to kill the dad, but I'm gonna go ahead and kill the king. Why not go up to the head?
Okay.
You know. And then I'm gonna be best friends with Tati and the brother.
Mm.
I liked Malcolm.
Me too.
And I thought it was funny that Malcolm was like, "Did you just laugh? Oh, you're fucked."
Right. I almost want to marry Malcolm, but I don't know enough about him.
Uh-huh.
yet.
I know.
I agree.
But he obviously is an alcoholic. He
Yeah,
needs to
so
work
we're gonna
on
have to work on
some
that.
things.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Should we do speed date?
Jeez.
Yeah. People or questions?
Questions
wanna do
first.
Questions.
Questions
Questions?
first.
Okay. What color was Evie's dress at the very beginning of the book?
Yellow.
Do you have a guess?
All I remember is the white dress at the end.
It was brown. What is Evie's full name?
Evangelina
Yeah.
Sage.
Middle
That's her
name?
last
Nope.
name.
I don't know the middle name.
Celia.
Celia.
I think they only said it one time.
Oh, okay.
What did the villain smell like? It was 3 things.
Blood. No.
Gross.
Pine.
Musk.
Fire.
Mm.
Smoke.
Cedar.
Mold.
Cinnamon,
Oh, yeah.
whiskey, and
Okay.
cloves.
She smelled like vanilla.
She did.
She did.
That was my next question. Good job.
Hey, look at you.
What drink do they have in the morning?
It's coffee, but they call it something else.
I have it highlighted. I'm not gonna look for it.
It's a brew.
Cauldron brew.
Oh, boom.
And who makes it?
The ogre.
Yeah.
Whose name is?
Starts with an E.
Irwin.
Oh, you're really close.
Edwin.
Edwin. I was gonna say Erwin.
What was Evie's job before she became the assistant?
She worked at the blacksmith shop.
Okay, what side was the villain's dimple on?
Left.
Yes. What color was the ink on the hands of the guy who bought the bomb?
Blue.
What color was the ink in Evie's jar?
Purple.
Gold.
Purple.
Purple.
What did the dragon's chain say? I know you said it earlier, but.
What did
The
it say?
villain will fall.
Yeah.
And what was the nickname that the villain called Evie?
The tornado.
Little tornado.
Little tornado.
That was
I
all.
love it.
Noise.
Very cute.
We did.
Okay, so
Pick your people.
my people. I will show you on my phone. So
Okay.
my first, did you guys ever watch the movie Zorro
Yes.
with
Yes.
Antonio Banderas?
Love
Yes.
him.
So that was my first vibe.
Okay.
But then they were talking more about Tristan, and he was more fair complected.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Okay. Okay.
I got
can
me
see
some
that.
Ashton Kutcher, but only because
Oh, you're
I picked Mila Kunis
okay.
Oh,
as
okay.
Evie because she's funny, she's witty, she's a little firecracker,
I love that pick, actually.
and
Yeah.
they are perfect together.
Yeah.
Look
That's a
at
good
them.
pick.
They
That's a
have
good
to be
pick.
together. That's it.
That's a good pick.
That was really good.
That's
Yeah.
my people.
Were you the one that picked the other couple? Who picked the other couple? Was that you?
No, it's me.
Nope, that was Carly.
You
Yeah.
you pick a good
Which is
couple
guys.
matchup.
It's kind of fun. It just happens because I pick the one character and then I
they're
realize their
married to
partner
the-
is like
yeah.
perfect.
Perfect. And they are.
They are.
I love both of them.
Mhm,
too.
Me too.
They're a good time.
Did you have anybody?
I did. My Tristan / the villain, I picked Daniel Gillies.
Ooh.
He played.
Is he from the vampire show?
Yeah, he was in the originals.
The originals, yeah.
His name's not Klaus. It's the other one.
Yeah. He's the older brother.
He's handsome.
Ethan. That's not.
We
his
could
name.
put him and Mila together.
But yeah, I thought he'd be a really good one. He's cute.
He looks dark and mysterious.
And then for my Evie, I picked a singer. Her name's Becky G.
oh, she's
Yeah!
cute.
She used to have a gap and she doesn't anymore.
Oh,
I
good
miss
for
it.
her. Oh,
oh.
not good.
No, I mean, no.
She's cute.
She's great. I
But
love her.
I wonder why she got rid of her gap.
Industry.
Well, usually that's
If my teeth looked like that, I'd be real happy.
Right?
They're
No,
gorgeous.
I followed her for a long time. I
That's
remember her when
funny.
she was younger. Oh,
And
the bulge.
the bulge.
The bulge is back.
Smash or pass?
Smash, and I'm going to smash this next book too.
You guys are gonna hate me.
I'm gonna pass.
Why?
I said one night stand.
Why? Okay, give me your reasoning.
I hate series, and if
Oh,
you
that's
end a
true.
book in a cliffhanger, I will never read another one of your books.
Mhm.
I'll tell you about it when I read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
you can tell us about
Yeah,
it.
I would love that actually.
I'm going to read this book. I'm so excited. I was really mad at the end. I was like, how dare you? I
Mhm.
always, because I feel like all the books that we read have finality to it.
Mhm.
So to not know that this was a part of a series before I started reading it,
Mhm.
I was thrown.
A series, a cliffhanger, and I was not prepared for the anger that I felt.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I get your reasoning. I get it
I
completely.
don't think it was a bad book.
No, it was a good
yeah,
book.
for
But-
sure.
If I did feel a lot of comparisons from that to ACOTAR, and
Mhm.
ACOTAR is so much better.
Well,
Mm.
and then
Like-
I also read The Ledge recently, which I said was really similar to ACOTAR. So it was
Yeah,
like ACOTAR and then Ledge and then this for me.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because when you really get into ACOTAR, there is so much action and fantasy, and like
Mhm.
there's war and fighting and romance and everything, and it's
Mhm.
so good.
Mhm.
This touched on all of that a little bit.
But it's probably faster.
Yeah.
more condensed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There
I-
was a lot going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A lot.
Yeah.
But it was good. I liked it.
I would, hey,
So-
if you haven't read any of those books, go ahead and jump into this one.
Mhm.
That's
Either
the
way.
thing though. Like I would
My-
still rate this book like pretty high, I
Yeah.
guess. Not
Yeah.
a 5 obviously, but I would still pass it.
Yeah.
Shout out
If
to
that
my
makes sense.
coworker, Kirsta. You better listen to this episode. I know you will. But she read, I got her to read ACOTAR, and then she has like just zoomed through all of Sarah J. Maas's whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
And she has also read this book, and she loved it.
Oh, good.
She's like, I really, really like that one. So I think even if you do have read the ACOTAR and
You'll still
Throne of
enjoy it.
Glass and all
Mhm.
that, like you would still enjoy this book. Just a different
I mean, I didn't really like ACOTAR that much.
different world.
Well, I only read
You
the
read
first
it?
one. I read the
Ah.
first one.
Mm.
A Court of Many Thorns.
I'm
What
gonna
is it?
She's gonna read the
I'm
second
gonna
one
read the
just to
second one.
appease me.
What is the
A
ACOTAR?
Court of Thorns and Roses.
Ah, not of Many Thorns.
I mean, there might be.
So our happily ever after is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yaros.
And our caveat for this one is that we are going to do what?
2 parts. We
Two
are
parts.
expecting, just from all the hype about it, that we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
And
Yeah.
it's
So
thick.
It's
yeah,
a thick one.
we don't want to rush it,
Thicker than a snake.
and we also don't want to put you through a hour plus
Yeah.
podcast
Which,
all
I
in one
mean,
sitting. So
I
We'll just
listen
talk
to
for
our
5
plus
hours, go on a
podcast.
nice drive.
Right. This is that would probably be a good road trip binge if you
Yes.
needed one. So we're excited to cover a book that's super popular right now, and be a part of the Bookstagram for that too. So
Mhm.
be looking out for that episode series. We've
Mhm.
never done this before. I'm excited.
Yeah, a 2-parter.
A 2-parter. All right, guys, you've reached
First
the end
for
of the
everything.
episode. We love you. Let me tell you about our socials before we get out of here. So on IG and Facebook, we are at Lovers Library Pod. We also have a TikTok. If you want to see us there, we are at lovers.library.po. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Happily ever after.
bye.